Friends, it's Miss Kimball. Today I'm super excited to work on math with you, and I have a really fun way for us to work on math together today. And it's all about making your own word problems. And it's important that when we make these word problems, we're getting a better understanding of all of the different language in English around addition and subtraction. We are only going to work on word problems for addition and subtraction. So it's important that we can learn the language around those two topics. So let's get started. Our first job is to answer this question right at the top. And it says, what is a word problem? And if we look at the pictures on the screen, I have something there to help us. And these pictures are reminding our brain that a word problem is a little story with numbers. And that's why some people like to call word problems number stories. So let's say all of these things together. Ready? Word problem. Good. Number story. And now let's say the definition of what a word problem is. A little story with numbers. Great. So all that means is that a word problem is just like a story that you may read in a book. Word problems many times have people and different items that these people do different things with. They either get more of these items or their items get taken away, and it's your job to read the story and find out how to solve the numbers inside the story. Our next language job is going to be to think about addition. So let's say that word together. Ready? Addition. Good. Now, just like you see on the screen, when you add, you're using addition. You're putting parts together. And I have a little song to help us with that. Ready? Watch and listen. Addition, add, part, whole, joining, combining to find the total. Let's listen to that again. Ready? Listen to all of those different addition words. Addition, add, part, whole, joining, combining to find the total. Excellent. You can hear in my little song that when you add, you're using the plus sign. And with the plus sign, you're bringing two different things or many different things together to find the total. And you use the equal sign to show that total. What's exciting about addition is that a lot of times you're getting more and more and more. You're adding to what you have. And there are a lot of words in English that we can learn that help your brain to know, I think this is an addition equation. So let's learn these words together. They're right on the screen for you. And when I read these words, I'm going to move my body with different things to show you what these words mean. Okay, so I want to hear and see you practicing along with me. Make sure you pause the video so you can practice again on your own. There are a lot of words. Ready? All together. Add. In all. Together. Some. Plus. More. Excellent. Remember, you can pause the video and practice those again. Make sure you're moving your body so that it helps your brain remember. I hope you noticed while I was moving my body to these words that it looks like some of these words mean the same thing. All together and together is showing us about the whole. When we put the pieces together, what is the total? And we can say total or all together, or together. Sometimes we can even say in all and some. Many times when you talk about addition, they're asking you to use the plus sign, and you're always going to get more. Nice job practicing. Addition can make us feel really happy because we're putting things together and we're getting more. The other language job that we have to do is to learn about subtraction. And subtraction can make us feel a little bit sad and a little bit grumpy because things have to be taken away. It's different than addition. So let's practice that word together. Subtraction. Excellent. Now I'm going to sing for you my little subtraction song, and I want you to look at the screen and think about, how is this subtraction song different than the addition song? Listen and watch closely. Subtraction, subtract, take away. The minus sign asks, what's missing today? Let's listen to that again. Subtraction, subtract, take away. The minus sign asks, what's missing today? So friends, when we look at the screen, we can see that our equation looks different than the addition equation. When you subtract, you're starting with the whole and you're taking away from that total. When you add, you're putting things together. You're getting more. But remember, when you subtract, you're starting with the whole and you have to take one part away, and your answer is this other part. And sometimes people like to call that the missing part, and other times people like to call that the difference, because you're starting with the total and something got taken away, so now you have less, and people like to use the word difference. Let's listen to some other words in English that tell your brain that this word problem will be about subtraction. Difference, subtract, minus, take away, less, less than. And sometimes subtraction word problems ask you questions like, how many more? And all of those words are really important for us to know because, like I said, they tell your brain, it must be time to subtract if my word problem is giving me words just like this. And I hope you notice that a lot of these words kind of mean the same thing. My body was doing the same thing when I spoke with certain words. And that's to show you that with subtraction and with English, a lot of times the words can mean the same thing. So make sure you pause the video so that you can practice again so that we understand. I'm so excited because now that we've learned the language of addition and subtraction in English, we can start putting what we know together to make our own word problems. So on the screen, I have a sentence frame, and this sentence frame is going to help us create so many different word problems for addition and subtraction. I'm going to read the sentence frame out loud, and it's going to sound a little bit silly because wherever you see a blank spot without a word, I'm going to make the sound just like that, because there's not a word for that space yet. It's your job to put the word there. So let's listen to the sentence frame and just remember, it might sound a little bit silly. And have takes How many do they have? Did you hear how silly that sounded, friends? When you speak a sentence frame, there are so many blank spots without words that when you make those noises, it sounds kind of silly. So I'm excited to fill in those blank spots with you. And if you look at the screen, I have a plus sign and a minus sign. And those examples are showing you the words that I put into the sentence frame to make an addition word problem and a subtraction word problem. So I'm going to read both of these for you. Clifford and Biscuit have 10 cookies. Clifford takes 5 more. How many do they have all together? I hope that you're hearing some of those addition words like all together and more. Now let's listen to the subtraction word problem. Clifford and Biscuit have 10 cookies. Clifford takes 5 away. How many do they have left? So I hope in that word problem you could hear some of our subtraction language like away and left. So I'm going to show you on the next slides how to make one of these very own word problems yourself. Before you start filling in any of the blanks on the sentence frame for the word problem, you must decide, should my word problem be about addition or should it be about subtraction? If you're choosing for your word problem to be about addition, you're going to use those words listed at the top of the screen. Let's read them together. All together, in all, more. Good. If you choose for your word problem to be about subtraction, you're going to be using the words at the bottom next to the minus sign. Let's read those words together. Away, left, difference. Good. Let's move on to the next spot that we'll need to fill in on our sentence frame. It's time for my favorite part when creating your word problem, and that's putting in the characters. I have some funny characters for you listed on the screen that you can choose from. Remember, a word problem is called a number story. And that's because just like a story has characters where people are doing things, your word problem needs to have people or characters that are doing something. They're getting more of an item or they're getting things taken away from them. So that's your job to choose who you want to be in your word problem or in your number story. Let's look at some of the characters I have listed. Clifford, Anna, Biscuit, Chase, Dad, Hulk, Mom. Now remember, friends, these are just some characters that I thought of on my own. You can choose whoever you would like to be in your word problem. Maybe it's you. You can put your name. You can put your teacher's name. You can put whoever you would like in your word problem, okay? But these are just some suggestions. Your next step in making your word problem is deciding the quantities of what you want your word problem to be using. Remember, you had to choose if you wanted to add or subtract with your word problem, and that's important to remember for the numbers that you choose. If you are going to do an addition word problem, you need to choose 2 numbers that you can put together. But if you are choosing a subtraction word problem, you need to choose a bigger number first and a smaller number second, because when you subtract, you're taking away from the total, and we cannot take away from a smaller number. The number I start with has to be bigger than the number I'm using to take away. So if I want to subtract, I could say 4 minus 1. because my total number, 4, is larger, it's bigger than the number I'm taking away, 1. But if I want to add, I could choose any numbers I want. I could say, 1 is my first number, and maybe 7 is my next number. And then whoever is solving your word problem has to put those two numbers together. So make sure you really think about what two numbers you would like to choose for your word problem. Your next job when creating the word problem is thinking about the item that you would like your characters to be either getting more of or to have taken away from them. So I have different things here listed for you to choose, but remember, just like a character, you can choose any kind of item you would like to. Let's read some of the items I have listed for you. Cookies, pizzas, iPads, toys, and books. And I'm wondering if you're noticing that I have an S at the end of each of these items, because there's always going to be more than 1. The only time you should take away the S at the end of that word is if you are only using one of these items. If the quantity that you chose for your word problem was 1, okay? But many times we're going to be using bigger numbers, so we need to use plural words like cookies, pizzas, and books. So make sure to choose which item you want your characters to either get more of or to have taken away. It's time for us to put all of those different things inside of the sentence frame. And it's time for me to hear what you chose to write for your word problem. On a piece of paper, I want you to write down this sentence frame. And you can pause the video so that you can go back to find the characters, the quantities or the number, the items, and if you need addition language or subtraction language. So on the purple lines, the purple blank spaces, you're going to write your 2 characters. So you can pause the video and go back to the character spot and write the names of your 2 characters. Then go back to the quantities spot in the video or the numbers and pick your 2 different numbers that you will use for your word problem. Then you will need to fill in the green space, and that is for your item. So remember, go back in the video and pick one item that you would like your characters to either get more of or get taken away from them. And the last space that you need to fill in on your word problem are the blue spaces. And those are all about your addition and subtraction words. So you'll need to write things like less or more or altogether and difference. So pause the video so that you can practice writing all of that down because I want to hear it. Then when you're ready, tell me your sentence. I want to know your word problem. I think it's going to be so funny. I can't wait to hear it. Wow, those were so funny, friends. I loved hearing that some characters were getting things taken away from them. I even heard that the Hulk took 2 cookies away from Biscuit. These word problems are so fun. If you've practiced making the other word problems and you're thinking, I need a challenge, that was easy peasy, what you can do is challenge yourself. And we can challenge ourselves by changing the ending. And we're going to change the ending from saying how many are left or how many in all to something different. And we're going to use the words sum and difference. And those are some fancy words in English that we can use when we want to talk about the total with addition, or when we want to talk about what's left over, the difference in subtraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to erase the last sentence in your old sentence frame, and you're going to change the question to what is the Everything else can stay the same. If you want your characters to be the same, they can do that. The items, the numbers, those can all stay the same. But what you can change to make your word problem sound fancy is the question at the end. And you can have it either say, what is the sum, or what is the difference? I'm so excited to hear your different word problems. Go ahead and challenge yourself. Make sure to send me your different word problems. You can email it to me at my email right at the bottom of this screen. I want to see and read the word problems that you are creating. Remember, you can pause the video and go back to change your word problem again and again and again. This is a really fun activity to play at school and while you're at home. When you're at home, friends, you can practice making a word problem and then have your brother or your sister or your mom, your dad, or even your cousin solve the word problem to find the answer. Then you can switch, and that friend or that other person can take a turn creating the word problem, and it'll be your job to solve it. I hope that you have fun with this activity, and please make sure to send me your word problems. Have fun, friends. Bye.